governance and quality, governance, and managing risk. Good organizational and program design are critical for good governance. As best practices, any best practices on creating your governance program and your operating model? You spoke a little bit more about that, but earlier. But anything more to add?
Well, I don't think our model is any different from many other companies, but I strongly believe in it because I run it through multiple firms in different countries, and even though the cultures were different, it worked very well everywhere. So it's based on 3 components. Okay. A good steward. That's the start. But for us, and what I was saying earlier, you need to define your own language. We define what a steward does for the company. And pretty much a simple summary of what the stewards do for ourselves are the conductor of the orchestra. They make sure everybody plays the same thing. Okay. So that's a very incredibly difficult job for us. But they are the base of everything. They are the catalyst of everything. So the stewards are one thing. The second thing is the owner. You have to have owners. The worst thing that can happen to a data management organization is for businesses to say, well, now that I have a data management organization, I'm going to dump everything on them and I walk away and I don't want to hear about it. No, that's not the way it works. Data management is everyone's business. And that's a concept that we implement through this ownership relationship. Okay. So stewardship, ownership, that's really how the base is born, I would say. Okay. Once you have that, you know the priorities, you know the escalation points, you know everything, because that's how it has to work. It's a very tight relationship. And the last component after stewards and owners, the last component is our communities. So I strongly believe that, as I was saying earlier, we cannot change anything if we are alone. So we bring around the same table producers, consumers of the same data, and then we go with it. We really use their expertise to make our lives better and their lives better. And that's the reason why they come back. Because most of the time people say, well, data governance is boring. Okay. I don't find it boring at all. I actually love it because you have people very, very pushy when it comes to actually don't change my process or actually change it because it doesn't work. So it's passionate. I really enjoy being in the data governance communities. We have probably like 10, maybe 12 communities right now. We have investment communities, we have HR community, finance and marketing and so on and so on. So it's very lively. People express themselves because they live the consequences of bad data on a daily basis. So that's an incredible source of motivation for us. It's also a force because we know that it's not going to stop anytime soon.
You've made your governance, your community teams very exciting. I would love to drill on that at some point in the future with you about how you do that, because I think that we've seen others go before and they say, ooh, we've started to notice membership go away because they're boring. So you've got some secret sauce there that you certainly have built in with your communities, and of course with your data owners and your data stewards, giving them that sense of accountability and ownership. That's also very critical in terms of a best practice. Governance programs are a marathon. They're not a sprint. It's not a project. It's something that you're building as an enduring part of your organization. So how do you keep the momentum? How do you keep that excitement and that enthusiasm with your stakeholder buy-in over time?
Yeah, that's I guess the recipe behind everything we do is to make it fun. You can see me smile all the time because I just enjoy doing what I do. So for sure, it can be difficult every once in a while, especially if people believe they are going to come to a data governance community and don't have much to say. But that's not the kind of things we do. And there are a few reasons why. The first reason is the financial industry is just incredible. It changes so fast, so often, that you don't really have time to be boring, to be honest with you. It's the easiest part of my job. I don't have actually to create new things because they happen all the time. And while the financial industry changes, data management also, is maturing. When you look at what it was 10 or 15 years ago, my gosh, that's nothing to do with what we see the whole to be right now. So I think, that's one thing. There is no dull moment in data management in the financial industry. That's the first thing. But as I was saying earlier, the danger is to see that as a purely bureaucratic exercise. And I can tell you, my CEO, I report to the CEO of Janus, Henderson, and my gosh, the first few times when I explained to him what we were doing through governance, he said, there's going to be another layer of bureaucracy. We don't need this. I said, please trust me a bit, and then we'll make it work. So the thing is, the perimeter of data that our businesses are using is just changing all the time. When I started in this industry a long time ago, we pretty much stuck to what data we were producing, and that was it. Now we consume data for weather, we consume data for, alternative sources, whether it's Twitter or whatever these kind of things. So we have new sources of data that require governance, that require good data architecture and good principles behind those. So it's not like we are in a sterile environment where nothing changes. And therefore, it's a little bit easier on our side and maybe in our industry to keep going. But again, if you don't deliver value to your stakeholder, whether at the community level or at the ownership level, they are going to pull their resources from you. So you better demonstrate that on a regular basis. And that the only way to be successful on an ongoing basis is actually to keep on delivering.
Well, excellent, Sylvain. I have to say, you are a passionate leader, accomplished leader, and I've learned a lot from this session today. And I know that our CDO audience has as well. We're at time, and I want to thank you so much for joining me and being a great partner in today's session. You've shared so many valuable points on leadership, the skills and strengths and of leadership in this space, and value delivery, and getting your teams to collaborate and work with each other and make things exciting. It's also strategy and governance. So many great points. Thank you so much for sharing. For our audience today, thank you so much, Sylvain. For our audience today, hope you found this session valuable. I know that I did. I took a lot of great nuggets away. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. And thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.